Okay, chapter 8 is on location strategies. Okay, location strategies related to operations management. I think we have covered many things in this semester. Okay, as many many, but it gives you a good picture, hopefully, of what how important is operations management is, and especially in many strategies. Quality strategies, process strategies, okay, product design, and now we come into location. Okay, location. So what's location? Location is where you set up your operations, your factory, your warehouse, your service centers, many things, okay. So we'll talk about Federal Express. Federal Express is a global company, which is the company profile, global company profile given in the book. We look at the strategic importance of location, and especially factors that affect location decisions. I think this is one of the most important things that probably you want to learn. Okay, factors that affect location decisions, as well as the methods for evaluating location alternatives for you to make the decision. And then the rest is just, it can be a service, it can be a manufacturing, with some slight differences. Today, very, very easy. We have Geography Information System, GIS. So you can do a lot of analysis easily. Okay. So what is Fedex? Federal Express. What do they do? What business are they in? What is the picture behind that? What can you see the picture in the background here?
Delivery the parcels.
Yeah, exactly. Packages, letters, even components. Okay, so component parts during pandemic, we need to transport a lot of medical devices and also medical equipments as fast as possible. Like respirators, like medical gloves and so on. Okay, so they are in operation. Okay, FedEx. So they created this central hub. Okay, central hub concept, which is actually, for example, to service Asia region, where should they put their hub? They fly aircraft and then they, start to break their packages into, for example, they fly to Hong Kong, then they break their packages and go to Malaysia, go to Singapore. So it's central hub. So this is a location decision. Why is it important for FedEx? Because central hub concept, they will enable service to more locations with fewer aircraft, enables matching of aircraft. So this is efficiency, reduces mishandling. If there is too many, transit flights, so you only have, for example, from US, Hong Kong, Malaysia, for example. They don't have to go to, go to Japan, so it's reduce mishandling. So there's a lot of advantages. Okay, so that is it's not clear. Okay. So our topic here is to identify and explain 7 major factors. So hopefully by the end of this chapter, you'll be able to know what are the factors. So when you look at location, you need to know these important factors. And I'm not going to explain this labor productivity because we already studied this before. I think labor product. No, this is just trying to emphasize, the need to compare productivity. Apply the factor rating method. Okay, this is repeating of what the method has been I've teach you before, but now is location. Okay, break-even analysis for location is the same break-even analysis, but we'll just go through the example. Using the central gravity method, this is new. Okay, I will briefly introduce to you. Briefly introduce the method. It's a method for finding the best location among a few locations. Okay, the differences between service and industrial sector location analysis, right? So one of the most important decision making for companies is actually location, okay? And it is becoming very global in nature. Global in nature means multinational corporations setting up their manufacturing plant, the distribution centers, where should they actually locate? So this is a global decision. For example, the pandemic. What happened for the pandemic? What happened, during the pandemic? A lot of disruption, right? Disruption. So companies are thinking, okay, you did your Renesas case study. So what do you think? The Renesas case study location. That is location problem, Deshaun. So it has impact on fixed and variable costs. Definitely. Wherever you locate your factory, if I locate in China, yeah, it's very, it's cheap variable cost. But the fixed cost probably is the same. Whether you locate in China, Japan, because you're going to buy the same machine. Or maybe if you can source a cheaper machine, that will probably be cheaper. But location has impact on, all costs, right? For example, I put here logistics. Logistics near airport. It is becoming much important today to actually locate near airports. Why? Because sometimes you need to have an urgent order, so you need to actually get it fast, especially small components, electronic goods, macro, all these chips very fast. They can use aeroplane. They don't have to use ships to actually send it abroad. So your factory location, is it near the airport? So that is also a decision, right? Decision that must be considered. And one more thing is that, how frequent do you make location decisions? How frequent? Do you change your factory every year? So the fixed cost is very, very high. So you don't want to keep on changing and investing on your location. So once you set a location, it's long-term, 10 years, 20 years. For example, Japanese manufacturers, they come to Malaysia, invest a factory, making air condition, for example, Mitsubishi, Matsushita, Panasonic, there are factories. So they have been here 30 years, making air conditions, aircons. Okay. Of course, when demand is increased, then you need to actually also find new factories. That is also, it's not very frequent as well, right? So it's very important, the strategic importance of location and other things. Like I mentioned, there's not long-term decisions. Once committed to a location, many resource cost issues are difficult to change already. Okay, you're already stuck with the decision. Okay, and if low-cost strategy, when you set up a factory, low-cost strategy, you need to make sure you can get this low cost for a long time. You cannot just invest and enjoy the low cost, just 1 or 2 years. After that, the cost increase. Then your product competitiveness will be lost. Okay, your product will no more be competitive. right? Okay. So it's not, location is the one of the most important decision. Of course, I'm not saying quality is not important, process is not important, all important. But location is quite important. So our objective, okay, if you read here, okay, what's the first one? Okay, what's the first one, Akiko? You read the whole thing. The objective,
expanding existing facilities.
exactly, expanding existing facilities so that you maximize the benefit. That means you want to expand, and the expansion cost must pay back. Number one, payback, okay, return on investment, and you are going to actually use the facilities for a long time. Second, maintain existing and add sites. So you can do that also. Okay, you can add new sites. For example, in Japan, you add a plant in Nagoya, or you add another factory in, or even in Nagoya, you have a few factories like Toyota. Toyota has a few sites in Nagoya. Okay, few sites, few places. Options also include closing existing and relocating. So that is also another a decision, especially if you if you look at what is happening today in COVID, many factories close down and relocate because of supply chain issues. Supply chain cut off, they actually relocate. For example, they don't want to produce in China anymore. They go onshoring. They call it onshoring. They move back to Japan. They move back to US. Onshoring, now made in Japan. I know of that strategy. During the pandemic, Japanese government give incentive for factories to bring back to Japan. Okay. You can read that. Okay. All right. I think you understand this already. Location and cost in terms of, it require careful considerations. And once it is fixed, difficult, okay, difficult to reduce. It's already the, your cost that you're committed to. And this is important. I hope you can understand this. What does it mean? Effort spent to determine optimal facility location is a good investment. Okay, Sarah, you explain me. What does this phrase means? What can you understand? The third one here. Okay. It's okay. I'm not. If no right and wrong. I mean, how do you understand? What do you think? Effort spent determining optimal facility is a good investment.
If the facility location is in a good location, it will connect it to the, I don't know.
Okay. Sue, any idea? Just guess. Okay. Or Akiko, guess. Anyone? Okay, Sue first. Okay.
It is important for the company to choose a good facility location.
Okay, very close and very near. Akiko? What is effort? Effort means
Try to do something.
okay, you try to do something. So now, what are you trying to do now?
To decide.
Okay, decide location. Okay, so the work that you do, that means the work that you spend means you do. So effort that you do, yet you take time to do to determine optimum in the best facility location is a good investment. Meaning that you need to spend planning. So so to write it in a very technical form is planning for location. Planning means you think about the factors, you do calculation, you do research. So planning for location is money well spent. Good investment means you spend the time taken is if I pay you salary, do planning. I pay you, $2,000, do the planning. It's good investment. Okay. Good money spent. Okay. So that basically it says that we need to plan for location. We need to plan for location. If it takes us 1 year to do the planning, do it 1 year. No shortcut. Okay, so that 1 year is good investment. Like learning a university, you get a degree. This is good effort. Get a master's is good investment. Wakaru kana? Wakaru ne? Wakarimasu ne? Effort, good. This is a good investment. Right. Okay, now we move on. We move on to factors affecting the location decisions. Of course, globalization adds to the complexity. When you say globalization, because I teach global business as well. I have another subject, global business. Okay, so global business, more detailed than this. For example, what is the country's culture, monetary system, trade barriers, incentives. So different government have different objectives. So how they attract foreign investment. Anyway, that become more complex. But anyway, for our purpose, right? We want to know the key success factors. But of course, because of globalization, we are talking about market economics. Every country wants to become, free market, make money, competitive, capitalist market. Yoku akaru ne capitalist market, okay? And then we need good communication. This is how you have to think when you want to locate good communication. Today, communication is not only at telephone. No, today we're talking about internet, right? And you talk about penetration, you talk about the bandwidth, about 5G. So if the country is not starting 5G, so you don't want to locate in that country. For example, rapid, reliable transportation is also something that multinational or big company look for. For example, you don't want to invest in Sudan, for example. Sudan, I've been to Sudan. It's not so good transportation. Okay, Malaysia better. Okay, Malaysia better. So ease of capital flow, meaning can you transfer your money easily? For example, I need 5 billion to make factory, so I need to transfer the money. Is that good banking system? Is that, well, all these are very important to understand. And also labor costs are different. Obviously, if you know why Adidas, their factory in China, why? It's cheaper, labor cost is cheaper, and you get the productivity. Anyway, so these are the drivers of globalization, and also some of these become factors. Okay, so they become, we need to identify the key success factors for location. I found this somewhere many times. Okay, many. So this is what? You know Intel? Intel, you must know Intel. Intel microchip. So they have wafer fabs. We talk about Renaissance, okay, Dalian and so on. So I'm just showing you. I found this in the internet. Okay, they have factories in Malaysia, in Penang, in China, in Israel, in US, and so on, Vietnam. Okay. And Toyota, they have factories. Why? How they decide this? Okay, how they decide it? Why they choose a country? And when they choose a country, they need to choose the region. Okay, so three stages. First, companies must decide the country. For example, I say I want to invest in Malaysia. I want to invest in so I need to know what are the key success factors. Any idea what is at the country level that it become important for decision location. I want to make my factory there. Sarah, just one key success. That's any factors that you can think of at country level.
How about tax?
Okay, probably is is important. Okay. What else?
What else?
Or Shu or
I
Akiko.
think
Anyone else?
it's politics.
Politics, yes, politics. We call it political stability. Okay. Akiko, any idea?
Culture.
Yes, culture probably will, it plays an influence. Okay, so let's see. These are the so-called key success factors. It ranges from political risk, government rules, okay, government law of the country. Does it protect investor? You invest in the country. Are your money safe? Your investment, culture, location of markets. Are you able to sell your product there? Okay. Labor talent. Labor talent is coming from the education system. Okay. Attitudes of work. Attitudes mean people hardworking or just laid back. Laid back, just relax. Okay. Productivity, availability of supply. So these are all related at country level. So we can move on to what we call as region. A country can be very big, so we select the region. For example, in Malaysia, I want to invest in Malaysia. Where? Penang, Kuala Lumpur, Johor. So that is becoming a region decision. Okay. So when you go to region, what are you looking for, Sarah? At the regional level, because it depends on countries lah, not in general. Taxes, different regions probably have different tax regime.
Law.
Local authorities, not local authorities, states. Okay, it's in the states. Okay, in the United States.
And the
probably.
states.
Okay. Any ideas? So we go more deeper actually. We go more detail. So this becomes, like the corporate desires. Corporate desires mean the headquarters preference. For example, Toyota set up a factory in Kentucky, okay, or in California, not in Florida. Okay, so that is and it comes together, attractiveness of the region, labor availability, cost and availability of utilities, environmental regulation, proximity to raw material, how near to the raw materials, okay, land and construction costs. Okay, so this is, of course, this is not the only one. You can add, you can put in, if we have a survey, we can actually, or analysis, we can pick them up and actually choose. So we go to the final one, which is actually the actual site decision. So site decision, Okay, site size and cost, all the air, railway, highway, waterway system, connection, transportation, zoning restriction. In US, there's zoning restrictions, like this is only the industrial park. You cannot have this kind of business, this kind of manufacturing, certain kind of product. So there are restrictions, for example, and the rest. Okay, customer density, democracy. So you see that means you're talking from country, region, then the particular site, particular city, particular area that you are going to be getting the most benefit by having that location. Okay, any questions so far? No. Okay, it's very straightforward actually, very straightforward. Or even when that's why it takes long time to actually study a country. Competitiveness of 144, this is even a bit old, 2014, but it gives an idea. There is, if you Google World Economic Forum, you will see reports about global competitiveness, world competitiveness of countries. Okay, and you can see here, the ranking for Switzerland, Singapore is among the highest in the world. Of course, you can see the down at the bottom here. So you can use this. You can look at their capital. You can look at their and all the statistics, business statistics. It's important to look at this as well. And also labor productivity. Sometimes we say that the labor cost is cheap, but maybe the productivity is low, and you must always calculate cost of labor per unit. For example, in South Carolina, even though it's $70 for labor cost per day, but 60 units is their productivity units per day, not productivity, actually output. Input over output. Mexico, this is a bit probably some truth, probably. Okay, they only can produce 20 units because of their skills and so on. So we need to compare labor productivity. If labor is important, okay, labor cost is important. Of course, all productions labor cost is important, especially manual work. Okay. So labor productivity is important. That will also affect location decisions. Okay. Now, other things like I say in a global, at the global stage, you have to always think about exchange rates, currency risk. Ukraine war today, you can only buy Russian oil using ruble. Ruble is packed with gold. Pack means you have to actually convert ruble into gold, then only you buy the oil. So that is, so exchange rates will affect actually. If your money become more expensive, then your cost will increase. So it will change actually, and so you must make that conscious decision. And of course, costs, tangible and intangible costs which are easily measured, easily seen, but there are also intangible costs, not easy to quantify. For example, education, public transportation, community, quality of life, setting up a factory in in the middle of a jungle somewhere. There is the expatriates from the headquarters live in middle of nowhere. There is no quality of life. Okay, but anyway, these are things that can actually affect location decisions as well. So local decision based on cost alone can create difficult ethical decisions. So sometimes you need to actually consider some other factors, like you mentioned culture just now. Okay. Okay, I'm not going to go to this detail. This is, the much more detail. For example, when you talk about worker attitude, absenteeism. Absenteeism, not coming to work. Okay, So in some culture, some country, absenteeism is very high, or even punctuality. Punctual means come on time. Japanese very punctual. But well, I have to tell my country, my country not so good. Okay. ちょっと悪いね。日本語の方がいいか。I record this. So when we say meeting at 9, then people will come at 9:10, 9:15. This is no good culture. So you must understand, and in Malaysia we have a lot of breaks, a lot of public holidays. 1 year, 20 days public holiday. So every celebration, Chinese New Year holiday, we last week was our we call it Haji celebration, Hajj. Okay, anyway, so global cultures have different attitude toward punctuality, legal, and ethical issues. So these are need to be understood. These are not cost, no cost factor. This is something which is not cost, but must be understood. Or even ranking corruption from the highest to the Malaysia today. I'm sorry to say, is I'm not sorry. Sorry. I'm quite ashamed. Okay, quite ashamed because the biggest scandal of everybody know in the whole world. 1MDB. You know, Sarah? Kita kutu aruka. Naik ka? Okay. So you 1MDB. Akiko. Kita naik soka. Okay. So it's it's a big issue, but of course it drops our ranking of corruption. Proximity to market, proximity to suppliers. Proximity means near to market, near to suppliers, especially perishable goods that actually damage easily, vegetables and so on. Proximity to competitors. Okay, this is also, the concept is called clustering. That means some countries, for example, Silicon Valley is a cluster of advanced, electrical, electronics inventions. Silicon Valley, okay, because it attracts talent, attracts what you call information. So often driven by resources such as natural resources, information, capital, talent, or even in what do you call? Do you know in India? What is the city? The electronic city. Do you remember? In India, the call centers are all there. The design of computer. It's very famous. No, I forgot. Okay, I'll try to recall afterwards. So you can see that in manufacturing, in service. In Dailan, China, Dailan is a call centers for Japanese consumers. Dailan, okay, Dailan. If you call, for example, to solve problems of your new computer, so they send to, because it's cheaper. They can speak Japanese. They can answer your query. Okay. Right. Clustering of companies, for example, in Bordeaux region in France, winemaking. Okay. Software firms in Silicon Valley. This is clustering. What else? Computer hardware manufacturing in Singapore, in Taiwan. They cluster. They attract similar competition. Okay. It's good actually. It's you get the mass, critical mass. Northern Mexico, electronic firms, Sony, IBM, because of NAFTA. But now no more NAFTA. It's US, Canada, Mexico trade agreement. Okay. Anyway, this is clustering. This is the method. Okay, so all these factors. So we want to have a method. How? Very easy, just follow the steps. It says that first, what are your key factors? So let's say I want to analyze country first. Which country? So I have 5 countries. So I select 5 countries. For example, I want to set up a automotive factory, Toyota. Okay, Toyota automotive factory serve the region, some countries, and you put in the key success factors. You assign a weight. And I'm not going to teach how this are being done, but you assign a weight. And you develop a scale for each factor, 1 to 5, 1 to 10. Okay, 1 mean low score, 10 mean high score. And then you score each location. The score means you are the analyst. Okay, you are the analyst. So you can give your evaluation, your assessment. This is just an example. I want to set up a factory. I've chosen France and Denmark, for example. Okay. And these are my key factors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It is just an example. And the weights given, the weights for this factor, per capita income, I'm going just to give 0.1 or 10%. And it goes to 100%, okay, 1.00. So 0.25, 0.05. So you multiply out. This is the analyst score. For example, Sarah gave this score for France, okay, and also for Denmark. So Sarah gave 70, level ability, attitude, France 70, Denmark 60. Of course, because of the expert knowledge, not just put the number. No, it's not about putting numbers. It's about giving the assessment. So what happened is, so you just multiply the weights with the score. For example, France, 0.25 times 70, 17.5. So for this, they score 17.5, whereas Denmark got 15. And people to car ratio, people per capita income 8.5 to 8.0, and tax structure and education, right? So this very straightforward, higher better. The higher the better. Score out of 100. Obviously, we say from our analysis is France. We're going to be our country location. Okay. So what you can do, you can set a key success factor rating for region, for what do you call sites. So you can go down into the detailed stages. So first select the country, then go for region. For example, Malaysia, Sabah. Sabah is in East Coast, Malaysia. Sabah, Penang, Johor. So that become, the 3 different places that going to be analyzed. Okay. Any questions? Okay. This is break-even analysis. It's just called locational cost volume analysis. It's just called cost volume analysis. It's the same thing. It is an economic comparison of location alternative. Now we have location, not process, not product. So break-even can do for anything. For anything. So this is the case of location. So you need fixed cost, variable cost for each location. For each location, then you plot the cost. So it's, for example, we have these 3 locations, and there is a selling price, there is expected volume. This is the same thing. Total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost times volume, VC times Q, okay, quantity. So you have this. So at 2000, obviously, if 2000, then of course you find the cheapest cost, right? So your fixed cost plus your variable cost and quantity, 45 times 2000, 150,000. But you can plot into a graph actually. Okay, this is the break even between Athens and Brussels to 1000. Break even Brussels and Lisbon, 2,500. And you need another break even. Okay. So there is, of course, the 3 break even. The other one is a bit higher. So this is, if the volume is 1,000 or less, then Athens is the lowest cost. Okay. If it is between 1,000 to 2,500, Brussels, Lisbon are all places. Okay. Places. You know, you have heard of these places before, right? Lisbon is a place. Brussels, all Europe, all in Europe. So if you want to produce more than 2,500, obviously you should locate in Lisbon. Why you want to locate into Athens? Because your what they call the lowest cost is at this region here. Okay. So this is break-even analysis, but we call it as locational cost volume analysis. Same concept as we did before. Remember, we did before on process selection, break-even analysis. Okay. So I'm not going to go detail on this. Okay. This I need to spend some time. Center of gravity method. Center of gravity. What is gravity? Gravity wa nan desu ka? You question. Okay. So when you say center of gravity, what does it mean? That means where is the, when you say center of gravity, what comes to your mind? Center of gravity. For example, you drive a car, okay, if the CG, center of gravity, is too high, then the car will topple. So you need a CG, the center of gravity, to be low so that it balances all the weights, all directions. Okay, that means it is at the center. You stable. Okay, you become very stable and you don't fall down. Okay, but in this case, okay, we want to find the location that in this case is a distribution center. Okay, or any warehouses, for example, that will minimize the distribution costs. So if I want to ship out goods, okay, to different places, different markets point or retail areas. For example, 7-Eleven distribute their what they call the delivery, okay, deliver. So they must find the central warehouse so that it minimize their total cost. Okay, so it minimize their distribution cost. So you need to consider, you need to know the location of the market. You need to know the volume needed for different locations. And of course, you need the shipping costs. But in this case, it's very simplified. The shipping cost is proportional to the distance. That means if I travel 1 mile or 1 kilometer, then my cost is, say, 2,000 yen, for example. Then if I travel another kilometer, is multiplied by 2. It's very linear. Linear. It's just linear. So we have this. So the method requires us to place existing locations on a coordinate grid. So I need a coordinate grid, and we just assume, if I say I have 4 locations now, 4 locations. Location 1, my first shop, okay, my second shop, first 7-Eleven, second number 2 7-Eleven, number 3 7-Eleven, or number 4 7-Eleven. For that matter, if you have 5, 6, and so on, it's okay. It's all in coordinate grid. Coordinate. So the grid origin and scale are arbitrary. So this is the origin is arbitrary, it's okay, you know, we can put it in any location. Then you maintain your relative distance. Now you want to calculate the x and y coordinates for center of gravity, proportional to the distance and volume that you ship. How much you ship out must be, you know, proportional. So you assume the cost is directly proportional to distance and volume, right? The cost is, and this is symbol for proportional, okay? Proportional to distance plus or n volume. Okay, right. So this is the middle value. We actually try to find what is the middle value for the x coordinate, because we remember that when it's the grid, there's x, y axis, right? X movement, y movement, okay? X movement, y movement, okay? So y coordinate of the center of gravity, it's the middle point, okay? The middle point for the goods move to or from. So xi is x coordinate of the first I location, first, second, third, fourth. Y yi is the y coordinate of the location I. And qi is the quantity of goods moved to or from location I. We'll look at an example. Okay, we'll look at an example and you can visualize it after that. Now, we need this first. Okay, we need, this is the example given in the book, exactly the same example I've taken from the book, and I've added actually this description. If you read this carefully, can you read this carefully? Queen's Discount Department Store has store locations shown in table 6.5. So this is the store location, which is in Chicago, in Pittsburgh. It's like this. I have a store in Tokyo, in Nagoya, in Kobe, for example. Okay. So they are currently being supplied out of an old and inadequate warehouse in Pittsburgh. So currently, the warehouse is in Pittsburgh, but it's already old warehouse in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh serve, you know, they send 2,000 to Chicago because this is the headquarters, right? Site of the first store. This is normally the case. You know, you start the first store, then you become the distribution center, right? But now I want to find a central location, a new central location to build a new warehouse from this current locations, okay, with the volume. So this is location, and you know the distance. If you put it on a grid, you can actually know the movement. So we want to apply the center of gravity method to determine this location. You understand the number of containers shipped per month. That means from the warehouse, which is now is Pittsburgh, but now we want to find the center of gravity for X and the center of gravity for Y. First of all, so this is north-south, this is east-west. So we are assuming the world is flat. The world is flat. So these are all X and Y, right? So X currently X1 is 30 because it's at 30 miles from some origin. It's okay. Whatever the origin is the same. Going to be the same. It's 60 miles from the origin. This is 120 miles from the origin in the Y direction or in the north-south direction. Okay. And X1, Y1, Q1. So everyone will have their what do you call distance and loading. So using that formula just now, it says using data for each city, we can determine the X coordinate, which is 30 times 2,000. For this, only take the X. So this is X1. This is x2. This is x3. This is x4. Okay, and this, of course, this is Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Divide by Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3 plus Q4. So the x coordinate is at 66.7. So you can actually plot after this. Okay, so if you calculate y, you will get 93.3. So what is saying that is that, okay, I'll show you the this is it's logic, right? Just putting that into formula, right? It is actually, so the center of gravity that will minimize the distance and the load for to serve all these four. To serve all these four is going to be here, which is 66.7 x and 93.3 y. Okay, at least theoretically, theoretically this is the answer. But of course, when we go to the real site, we cannot just, if there is a building there, we cannot put a building there. We have to make some other adjustment. This is mathematically, this is the cheapest transportation cost that we will be able to incur. We are incurring this cost. Okay, ちょっと難しいけど、any questions? Sarah, any questions? Get an idea. Did you get the idea? Can you understand this? Any questions? You cannot understand this?
I understood.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science. Okay, this is not design of rocket. This is just simple mathematics. Okay. Transportation model, I'm not going to discuss this. Okay. Now I'm going to show you. No, for hotel, you can actually do some regression analysis. R squared is regression analysis. And GIS, geographic information system, that I told you just now, we can use today, rather than using that CG just now. Okay, it's all here already. Okay, so center of gravity is much more easier by having GIS. Okay. Take 5-minute break, because after the 5-minute break, we are going to